Hello children, welcome to this session, and in this session we are going to take the poem Chivvy by Michael Rosen. So first, what is the meaning of Chivvy? Chivvy means a nag, and if you remember in your class 6 in the first lesson who did Patrick's homework, we have learned this word. So to Chivvy means to nag, who is to continuously urge someone to do something, often in an annoying way. Means when someone is telling to do something continuously, do this, do that, in this manner, when we tell to the other person, then it is called as a nag, which is irritating. This is the image of a poet, Michael Rosen. Very lively person. And Michael Rosen is an English children's novelist, poet and the author of 140 books. So till now he has written 140 books. He served as children's laureate from June 2007 to June 2009. He has been a TV presenter and a political columnist. He was born in 1946 and lives in UK. The learning objectives. What we are going to learn in the poem. To appreciate and enjoy poetry. To understand the fact that grown-ups instruct children to teach them good manners. Critically examine the fact that children should be given the right to make their own decisions. So these three things we are going to learn. Now the poem, it is related to one of the incident of the poet's life, and the poet has shared that when he was of 5 years old, his mother took him to a nearby school for admission. And we know that while taking the admission, certain sorts of interviews happen with the child. And in that school, when the teacher, she was taking interview of Michael Rosen, she asked him a question: what does your mother call you at home, child? And Michael don't, came the confident reply. And Michael, he had given the answer that Michael don't. This is because at the home he was used to listen the same word. Michael don't do this, Michael don't do that, Michael don't do like this, don't like this. He was continuously listening the same word. So he introduced himself as Michael don't. And so the poem is little about like that only. It is all about the kids only. The kids, they never like that the elders, they are giving them the instructions continuously. The children think that they should give the freedom, that whatever they want to do, they should be free to do that. And the poem is just like that only. It is describing the emotions of the kids. So let us read the poem, Chivvy. Grownup says things like, speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. Sit up, say please, less noise, shut the door behind you, don't drag your feet, haven't you got a hanky, take your hands out of your pockets. Pull your socks up, stand up straight, say thank you, don't interrupt, no one thinks you are funny, take your elbows off the table. Can't you make your own mind up about anything? So this is the poem. The poem is very easy. So there are very less new words. Chivvy, that already we have discussed. And stare means to look for a long time. Fixedly means look for at something for a long time. Interrupt means to disturb someone, to break the continuity. That when some people are talking and you just go in between them and disturb them. So that is called as the interruption. Now what the poet, he wants to tell in the poem. The poet Michael Rosen has talked about the dominating behavior of the grown-ups. Grown-ups means the elders. Dominating means every time forcing our own views on the other person. So the poet, he has pointed out here one of the habit of the elders, that they have the habit of continuously telling the children to what they have to do and what they don't have to do. The second thing, that according to the poet, The grown-ups instruct us in every way possible. From telling us to stay quiet and minding our language. They instruct ceaselessly, means continuously, without taking a pause. They used to give so many instructions to the child that how he has to behave, how he has to use his language, and everything, means every possible way, whatever the child is doing. The elders, they used to give the instructions to the child. And the third thing which the poet he has discussed in the poem, that is the poet takes a satirical tone at the end of the poem and speaks about the importance of freedom, self-dependence, and interrogates about the need of being instructed by the grown-ups. So the last two lines are very important of the poem, where the poet asks the question to the elders that we are going to learn in the explanation of the poem. So let us discuss the poem stanza wise. So the first stanza, grown-up says things like speak up. Generally we know that the grown-ups, they have the habit to keep telling children what to do or what not to do, so that they should learn the good manners. The intention behind giving the instruction to the children, that is the parents, they want that, the adults, they want that the children should learn the good manners. They tell the children not to speak when there is food in their mouth. So don't talk with your mouth full. That when you are eating something and when there is something in your mouth, it is not a good thing that you are talking to the, don't stare. We know that the children have the habit that if they are going with their parents in the market and if they saw such thing which is their favorite thing, so they usually stare at the thing for a long time, and the parents don't like that. So they tell the child don't stare, don't point. Even sometimes we point out the children, they have the habit when they see their friend, when they see some of their favorite thing, they used to point out that see that thing, that thing. So the parents, they give the instruction to the child that don't point, don't pick your nose. Even the parents, the adults, they are asking the child that not to pick their noses. Usually children don't like the instructions. We know that. The children, they don't like that others, they are continuously telling them that what they have to do and what they don't have to do. That is the first stanza. Let's see the second stanza. Sit up, say please, less noise, shut the door behind you, don't drag your feet, haven't you got a hanky, take your hands out of your pocket. The children are also told to sit straight and say please. We know that the elders, they expect that when you want to ask something to the elders, you first say the word please. This is a good manner. Less noise means children should not make more noise. They should be quiet, less noisy. And whenever you are going out of the room or you are leaving the room, you have to shut the door, means close the door behind you without making any sound. Don't drag your feet. Children, we know that they have the habit of walking in a different style. So dragging the feet, they have this habit. And when the children are walking like this, the elders, they used to give them instruction. Don't drag your feet, but walk properly. Haven't you got a hanky? And the grown-ups just tell the children not to drag their feet and keep a hanky with them. This is for the cleanliness and hygiene. That is quite okay. Take your hands out of your pockets, and you know that the children have the habit. Even while standing in assembly, you might have faced this situation so many times that the children, they used to keep their hands in pocket and stand for assembly. And at that time, we teachers, we have to tell you that take out your hands out of your pocket. So this is one sort of instruction again. Pull your socks up, stand up straight, say thank you, don't interrupt, no one thinks you are funny. Take your elbows off the table and pull your socks up. If your socks are going down, the elders, they ask you to pull it up, stand up straight. Children, they are very naughty and even they are very enthusiastic. They don't want to stand up straight at one place. Every time they are very jolly, and so the instruction comes that stand up straight, that you have to stand straight. Say thank you. That is another type of good manner, that whenever you take something from others or whenever someone gives you something, the obvious thing is that you should have to say that person thank you. Don't interrupt. This is quite common instruction given to the children, that whenever the elders are speaking something, the children have the habit that they go and ask something to their mother or father. That is the interruption. So the elders are telling the children that don't interrupt, means don't disturb in between their conversation or in between their work. No one thinks you are funny, and sometimes the children, they have the habit, they used to do different expressions or different funny movements to attract the attention of the elders. And when the child is doing such things, the elder have instructed that no one thinks that you are funny, don't make such funny faces, take your elbows off the table. Children have the habit that put their elbows on the table, and while even eating the food also. So the elders, they are given the instruction that don't take your elbows off the table, means don't keep your elbows on the table. And the last two lines, can't you make your own mind up about anything? So this is a certain sort of interrogation which the poet has done, that till this particular sentence, previously we all have seen the different instructions which the elders are giving continuously to the child. And now when the child, it turns into a young person, at that time the elders, they are expecting that the child should take his own decision. That is quite unreasonable. Here the poet, however, indicates a passage of time when the young child has grown up and is incapable of taking a decision on his own. Why? Because from his childhood, the child is continuously listening to the instructions of the elders. And suddenly then how the child is able to take his own decision? And at that time is when the child is grown up. At that time, the adults, they ask the child that why he is not able to think independently. So this is the question which the poet has asked to the readers, that if you are not giving freedom to your children to think independently, then how you are expecting that the child should take a decision by his or her own? So here the poet, he wanted to make a request to the elders that give freedom to the children to think in their own way. Let them take their own decision at times, because decision making power is the most important thing which the children have to learn. And one part, it is okay that we are giving the instructions to the children, but at the another point we need to give them the chance also to think by their own and take their own decisions. So I hope you all have understood the poem. Now let's move towards the activity. And the first activity, give your own rhythm to the poem and recite it. So you have to give your own rhythm to the poem and try to make it more lively, and you have to recite the poem. So this is your first activity. You all have to do it. And activity number 2, prepare a chart of do's and do nots given in the poem. We know that the poem is filled with do's and don'ts, and here in the table you have to list out the all instructions in do's and don'ts column. For example, one I have given here. Number first is speak up. That is the instruction given in the poem. And don'ts, don't stare. So the table you have to complete with the instructions which are given in the poem. The example, one example I have given to you, and remaining instructions you have to divide it into the 2 columns. The positive which the child has to do, that is in the do's column, and the negatives means the child which the child doesn't have to do, that will come in the don'ts column. So the activity is clear to you. You all have to complete this activity in your notebook and submit it to me by mail in the 2 days. This is compulsory for all the children to do this activity in their notebook and send it through email. So I hope all the things are clear to you. Thank you and good luck.